Hey everyone, it's Justin. How are you all doing today? So today I'd like to talk about prepping for the future, or just living in a new world that's going to be around pretty soon, and how to plan for it and what to do. So let's keep this really simple. Let's not think about apocalyptic stuff, or anything crazy or anything extreme. Let's just talk about what it is that most people do, and kind of what is even the plan that you are prescribed if you go through the system. So generally it's you end up going to school for between kindergarten and college, 12 plus years of education, and then you work a job and you get either a pension, or you put into a 401k, IRA, etc. You work until you're old enough to draw on Social Security, 62 or so, and then you start drawing on your pension, right? That way it's dead. It's done. It's over. It does not work anymore. If you are anyone under the age of, 62, it's really not going to work anymore. And here's why. Where to begin? Number one, Social Security is broke. There's nothing left in it. Social Security has so much funding that they need. If, everyone goes at 62 and starts trying to draw, there's not enough in the budget. I can't remember the exact numbers that they're down by, but that, and we're already running to deficits in the country. It's one of our biggest expenses. If you want to be able in the future to keep having Social Security, the government's just going to have to keep printing more money or raise taxes by 20, 30+%. If you think that it's going to keep being there, or it's actually going to be an amount that's worth anything, you're going to get screwed. You're not going to be taken care of for anything. Probably the biggest fallback of the government would be is they'll just print the money in order to be able to pay off everyone in it. But by printing all that money for Social Security, which is fiscal, not financial, it'll end up diluting the currency and inflating the consumer prices of everything, because it goes directly into goods and services. Number two, pensions and IRAs.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Tennessee 62 West.
With the low interest rates we've had for years now, since 2008's financial crisis, and leading up till now when they just started hiking rates, the risk in order to gain has become enormous. If you want to have some type of retirement or something, obviously you give your money over.
Take the next right onto Tennessee 62 West.
Pardon my GPS. If you can hear that, I don't know. But if you want to retire, generally you give your money to, some type of fund or pension thing where maybe you're a teacher and the government takes care of it for you, or you're a large business, you work for a large business and they have
Continue on Tennessee 62 West for 16 miles.
Manage your money for a fee, and out of the profits they make in that investing, they take a cut. And they want to move your money around to charge more fees. But most of the time, no one ever even checks to see how their retirement is doing. They just, maybe once a year, if that. I read some statistic the other day that it was about once a year that the average person checks their retirement, or has a sit down with whoever the financial advisor is. And by the way, none of this is financial advice or whatever. I'm just explaining my take on how this all works. So with these low interest rates set by the Federal Reserve, the Fed's fund rate, and treasuries, right? The return on investment for safe assets has been extremely low. This has caused for investors to seek out higher returns with higher risk. And this has caused huge problems, right? It's made so that a lot of companies that really should not be invested in, to go both sky high in prices. You could make examples like, let's say, Tesla, or you could say something like Carvana, Zillow. Super, like, I think Tesla, for example, is evaluated as if it is making all the cars for everyone in the entire United States. They're assuming that's how much profit they're making. I don't know about you, but I don't see that many Teslas out there on the road. I'm not driving one right now myself. So anyway, that's one factor. The second is that a lot of places like BlackRock, they've ended up, because they can't get the return off treasuries like they normally do, which is considered to be the safe haven asset, guaranteed to make you a return. But for so long, the interest rates were near zero, so it really wasn't worth it for them. They went into things like real estate, and over the last 2 to 5 years, hedge funds have been buying large amounts of residential, not commercial, residential real estate to try and garner some type of return, something with 6%, 7%, which is historically supposed to be your return for an investment across hundreds of years, is what generally everyone is sought after, is around that 7% number. With that being said, these large businesses, these large hedge funds, they are not real estate management companies, and it is extremely difficult to manage real estate on a large scale if that's not even your profession. Most real estate investors are small, mom and pop individuals who own about half a dozen houses, and that has been the most efficient way for the economy to run pretty much forever. Because housing, when it's individual single-family home, has way more nuance than if you have an apartment complex with 200 plus units where you can systematize everything. These pensions are not going to do well, and hedge funds are not going to do well, and they're going to lose huge chunks of money. And I've heard rumors right now that they're going to sell off. And these hedge funds, it's people's money they're working with. It's not their own money. They're investing for other people with the purpose in the future for those people to draw on their retirement so they can retire. But these malinvestments created by bad financial policy and money printing is going to end up with huge devaluations right when all the boomers are trying to retire right now. It's a huge demographic. It's like the largest demographic in the United States right now, all trying to retire at once. And the stock market falls apart, or other investors fall apart, they're not going to be able to, and they're going to have to go to work. Other examples are this is a really scary one, is the pension funds. Pension funds generally are government pension funds. They're, the military, teachers, firefighters, people who, have like a super guaranteed return. They end up getting a draw of a fixed amount every year, forever. So these ones are really sad because the state-ran ones are all stealing from their pensions. There's a good book, Robert Kiyosaki wrote it. What is it? How They Stole My Pension, or How They Stole Your Pension, or something like that. State governments around the United States are broke. They're unable to pay for all of their expenses they have on a monthly and yearly basis. All the programs, like just simple things like building your roads, like firefighters, police, teachers, and then, all the other extra stuff they want to do too. These initiatives where they give, like out welfare, and they try to do these big state parks, or maybe they have projects that are ridiculous, like California's rail system. Billions and billions and billions of dollars spent and lost, and this rail project isn't even done, and it is being canceled. Big scam. So what does those state governments do? Well, they can either collect taxes, they can take out loans, municipal bonds, state bonds, etc. Or, and this is their plan, and this is what they've been doing, is they go to the teachers, the firefighters, police officers' pension funds, and they steal the money. They're not going to tell you they're stealing it, because what they say is that they'll make it back in the stock market investments, and in the end they'll be able to give the money to all those people who worked hard for it. They're telling us that they think they can make a larger return than what they already are, so that they can have their cake and eat it too. It's a bunch of nonsense. They're not going to be able to do it. Well, I think it's there's only 3 or 4 states in the entire country in the United States that actually have a balanced budget every year. One of them, the best, is Tennessee, which is one I'm living in right now, and is actually one of the reasons I decided to live here. Because they're just less likely to go insolvent and steal from everyone and raise taxes. Anyway, if you're someone who is, my point, planning in the future to draw retirement from one of these vehicles, 401k, IRA, whatever, or something like that, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you any advice at all. I'm telling you how they work and my understanding of them. This is not financial advice. And what I'm doing, and I am by no means going to put my money in those people's hands. It's not going to happen. We have to start thinking of different ways to prepare for retirement in the United States. And the ways that I'm doing it is I'm taking control of my own retirement plan by having passive income through some of it, real estate. Personally, the real estate that I like the most right now for the future is agricultural. Things that are unlikely to get bailouts, like if you were to do, storage buildings or any type of certain commercial real estate. Things that sell goods, like, let's say, a Home Depot or so. Not that I own a Home Depot or anything like that. And not that I would buy it right at this moment, but things that are guaranteed to stay around, that are in need, a brick and mortar that is required. And you can't, have Amazon ship a bunch of 2x4s to everyone around the country to build their houses. You're going to have a home improvement store that manages all that. Anyway, those are some ideas. I also personally do things like commodities, gold and silver, stood the test of time for millennia, over 5,000 years on record. Ever since the beginning of the United States, in dollar terms, they've only gone up. That's it. They float on top of the cash or the currency supply. They are an inflation hedge. It's amazing to me. Everyone says, or at least in the larger financial industry, say that it's a bad investment. It is such a joke. It's so obvious if you look at the historical charts. All that it's done is going up. It may be slower than everything else, but you retain your wealth. You don't lose your wealth through speculation, gambling, the stock market, etc. Gold and silver have never gone bankrupt. They don't default. They don't have any, loans against them that, people do with stocks. Anyway, other than that, your other really, really solid ways of preparing for retirement, I think, in the future for my generation, the millennials, for me personally, is also, I think we're going to go into a period where being debt-free will be an extreme positive. Now, I've taken out a lot of loans in the past, hundreds of thousands of dollars for business purposes, and I've levered that money and I made a lot of money. There's a time and a place. But when you're in a risk environment and there's scarcity in currency or a currency value, like in a high inflation environment, you can't guarantee always you'll be able to pay back those loans or to be able to pull in the payments that you need. Anyway, those are some things to think about. Other things, if you can secure your energy, if you can secure your food as a source of retirement for the rest of your life, why not do that? I mean, have some type of, power generating system have some type of food generating system. Maybe you could buy stock in a local farm. Maybe you could build a greenhouse, buy a local greenhouse, and then have it ran by, a small group of people that you hire. Or you could just give money to a local greenhouse, and then, you could make some type of deal where I get a portion of the food if I want it, and I make a return on profits. That's another idea. These are just some thoughts. Let me know what you all think. I think we're going to have to buckle down, and we're going to have to take control of our lives for the future. And I don't think that we live in a system anymore with the abundance we once had and the freedoms we once had to be able to just rely on other people to take care of us and to handle things for us that are the most important in our lives. These systems are breaking down, and they're full of corruption, and they're inefficient. So you got to go back to the basics. Other than that, that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think. For now, take care.